Javier's Gourmet Mexicano, one of our favorite spots, as we said. And it's sitting here right in like literally precious real estate spot. We're on the edge of Park Cities in Highland Park and on the edge of Katy Trail as well. And it features, like we said, Mexico City gourmet food, which is very highly coveted in Dallas, Texas.
Let's go inside and check it out and meet the legend himself, Javier Gutierrez. And most importantly, let's try some good meals, appetizers, and cocktails.
Love it. Awesome, so we're here at Javier's, sitting with Javier himself, Javier Gutierrez. So, Javier, tell us a little bit about the history of Javier's.
The history of Javier,
Yes.
well, you know, it started back in 1977, and it was actually just that one room over there, and then, of course, the kitchen. But through the years, now we'll be 46 years in June, okay, and it started out as, I didn't even know I was going to be in the restaurant business. But after I got out of college, I went to work for General Motors, which was, you know, an office job. It was not really my cup of tea. So I went to work for a fellow out of New York that was repping a women's clothing line out of New York. And they wanted to hire a Latin guy that could represent the product down in the Valley and Laredo and McAllen and come up and all that. So I went to work for Marvin. Marvin Schultz was his name. And we used to have, the office was over at the apparel market. And there was a little restaurant that we used to have lunch at quite often. Chiquita's was the name of it. Chiquita. And Marvin was always interested. I mean, he would see the activity going on in this restaurant. He says, "Oh my God, look at this place. Why don't we do a restaurant?" And I said, "Marvin, I can think of a lot of reasons why we don't do a restaurant. You know, it's not that easy," and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, long story short, him and another good friend of mine from Monterrey, Mexico, got together, and they lured me into coming in without, because I didn't have any money to put in or anything, but they did. So they offered me a third of the action if I committed myself to opening up the restaurant, running it, managing it, doing everything necessary from the beginning, you know, and they wouldn't interfere. They would allow me to do everything I wanted. And I said, "Well, you guys got more money than sense, because I don't really have any experience in the restaurant business. But I'm going to take the opportunity." So that's how I got started. Now, I was born in Mexico City. My father was a doctor down there, and he decided to come to Dallas because he always wanted to practice medicine in the U.S.
Right.
And he figured he could give his children, my 3 sisters and brother, and myself.
How many?
3 sisters, 1 brother, and me.
That's like
So he felt like, you know, we could have a better opportunity of success in the United States. I was only 12 years old when I moved up. I didn't even speak English, okay? So that's how I started. But so that's how the restaurant started. So I told these guys, I said, "Okay, if we're going to do a Mexican restaurant, it's not going to be Tex-Mex, because that's already very well represented. El Chico, El Fenix.
Right,
So I'm not going to do that. We're going to do something that represents where I grew up, Mexico City, because I'm very proud. I love Mexico City growing up there. It was beautiful, wonderful place, and the culture, and it was so different.
We need more of that interior Mexican.
So different from your Tex-Mex thing. And I love Tex-Mex, don't get me wrong, and I think it's wonderful.
Yes.
Very successful. But I think Dallas deserves something a little different. And so we started, I went to Mexico City and hired a chef, a young guy that was very savvy, very good. Brought him up here, got him his papers and everything else. So, and we decided we're going to do Mexico City style food, and that's what we have.
I love it.
So, you know, and then of course, along with that, the decor, you know, the classic, the European, the Spanish decor, that type of thing.
Yes, I know, and I love how you mix in the taxidermy too. Is that a signature for you, or?
Well, I used to do big game hunting. I used to go in Africa and Alaska and that, and I didn't have any other place.
True Texan over here.
A lot of them ended up here. They had my Kodiak bear. Yeah, those are my trophies. So this is one of my most popular dishes. I mean, appetizer. This is an appetizer, assorted platter. So we have shrimp, sauteed garlic shrimp, which is with the same basic recipe as a red snapper mojo de ajo,
Okay.
except with shrimp.
Right.
In the middle, you have quail, grilled quail, marinated with several spices, and served with the red pepper habanero peppers.
Delicious.
And on the right is the tenderloin tips with a black peppercorn sauce. So it's 3 different flavors, but people that come here, they've never been here. We'll introduce them to these things that they, and it's been very successful.
Yes, and this is a typical dish and appetizer like in Mexico City as well.
Yeah.
Well, that one I came up with. That one I ended up here. I just threw
You're
that.
just like,
Yeah.
let's just throw it all.
I wanted to promote the quail because it's so good.
Right, it is
And
delicious.
this was a good way of doing it, combined with 2 dishes already very well established.
Especially for people that wouldn't typically order the quail.
Yes.
You have the shrimp and the beef.
Yeah. So, but help yourself.
And now you say the quail is like one of the most popular.
Oh yeah, that quail is it's amazing. Quail, you just grab that, like if you get a little leg, you grab it by the leg.
The legs, right?
Yep. Salud.
Salud.
Salud. Amor y pesetas. You know what that means? Salud, amor y pesetas. Health, love, and money, and coins. Right.
Money,
and
but-
time to spend it, time to enjoy it.
Plain quail, like just one quail, like
Right. Well, see, these 3 dishes, they all come as a main course. The garlic shrimp comes as a main course, the quail comes as a main course, and the tenderloin tips as well.
quail and the mojo de
Well, so
ajo.
many people were ordering the quail as appetizer, and then they wanted to have us put it as a main course.
Right.
So now it's the 3rd biggest selling. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I love that.
Yep. So everyone kind of wants to know about the butter and where you came up with that idea.
Yeah, you don't really see that often.
Well, the butter was actually not something that we did initially, but we had a customer one time that asked us if we would mind bringing some butter so he could have some with his chips.
So it's not a
No, it's not a tradition.
testament to Mexico City or anything. It just happened to be.
It just evolved as something that a customer wanted, and we always try to please our customers. So we tried pleasing him, and then as it turns out, everybody else wanted it. So now we got the butter with the chips and the hot sauce.
Oh my gosh. And now it's a staple. Like
Now,
now this
yeah.
Javier's thing.
And now if we don't offer it, if we don't bring it automatically with a hot sauce, people go, "Where's my butter?"
I am one of those people.
So there you go.
I am one of those people.
We just want to make our customers happy, That's,
I had a few friends from out of town brought here, and they thought that because they thought the butter was some other type of sauce, so they were just eating the chips and butter, and I was like, well, you've got to dip the chip and butter into the sauce, and they were like, this is butter,
Right.
and they didn't understand that. Here we are.
One of the problems we have is it has to be the right texture, because if it's too hard, then it's hard to do.
Right.
So you have to, you have to get
kind of
it
soft, so you
right.
can dip it in, and then.
Yes.
My
But
personal favorite is the green sauce.
The tomatillo.
I could like drink it like water.
Yeah.
No more water. Save water, drink tomatillo.
You were asking about the restaurant in the background. Well, now you know how it started, and through the years, I was fortunate enough to be able to buy the building here. And I just expanded from, poked a hole in the wall and added this dining room here. Then we ran out of room here again, poked another hole in the other wall, and added another dining room. And now we go all the way to the very end where the cigar bar is.
Right. So when you started this, y'all didn't have like the idea of the cigar bar.
No.
It just kept kind of growing and gravitating.
Well, it kept growing, and but we couldn't really. The kitchen is kind of small, so we had to come up with something else to do with that space. So my brother was in the cigar industry, and so we said, "Why don't we do a cigar bar?" Yeah, let's do a cigar bar.
And everybody
So
loves
there
it
you go.
now, yeah.
Yeah.
Iconic.
I mean, we got started with a cigar bar many years ago because, some of the rules and regulations behind cigar bars, you have to qualify to remain open after the city of Dallas changed the smoking ordinance.
Oh, right. Right.
And so thank God we qualified, so we were able to keep our cigar bar.
People would have been very upset if y'all had not been.
They would have. So we were very fortunate that we were able to do that. And people love it, you know. People go have dinner in the cigar bar and then come have dinner here and then go have an after dinner drink in the cigar.
Exactly.
Or vice versa. They come here and talk business in the cigar bar and then they come here and have dinner. So it works really well. It works really
Depends
well.
how long the wait is. If the wait's 2 hours, you
Yeah,
can
they just
cigar
hang out back.
first, have some drinks,
right.
come back over here, have dinner,
Right.
or vice versa.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So it's worked out.
it sounds like it.
That is so good.
Isn't that good?
Just kind of told it about the good old boy dish at the ranch.
Yeah, that's a good old boy tradition. I can't tell you how many people come in here and they say, Javier, how come I can't make my quail taste like that? And I said, well, because you don't have the right quail, number one.
Yeah.
And number two, you don't marinate it overnight like we do.
Right.
And number three, you don't know what you're doing.
You just don't have the
Where
size.
do you get your quail from?
It comes from Manchester Farms up in North Carolina.
Okay.
Oh. Well, I don't know Manchester Farms, but
They do a great
From
job. They
Carolina?
do a great job. It's great quality, very consistent. It absorbs the marinade really well. So,
How'd you figure that one out?
you know,
Lots of testing.
yeah.
You never did Texas quail?
I did, but it was too dry.
What about Georgia quail? Quail
Too dry.
Too
For
dry?
some reason, Manchester has this quail that absorbs the marinade really good.
Okay.
Okay, I think it's high graded. It's yeah, well, the quail, like I said, it's it's not the same. You try to go hunting quail, then you try to cook. It's not the same as that because, like I said, this quail,
Quail, but
it's
versus
farm raised. It's farm raised, so it's a whole different thing.
yes, yeah. Awesome.
Very neat.
North Carolina, how about that?
How long have you had that on the menu?
The quail we've had what about 18 years maybe?
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's grown in popularity.
Yes, big time. There's times that the whole grill is full of just quail.
Wow.
No room for anybody else on the grill.
That's okay.
So, as a restaurant owner, though, how do you prepare for each night?
Yeah.
You have one night you have so many people ordering quail. How do you know how much you have marinate?
Well, I mean, the experience tells you, how many you need to prepare for on an average night.
Right.
You just lay the percentage. I mean, obviously on a Friday, Saturday night, we prepare a lot of quail.
A lot of quail.
Prepare a lot of red snapper, prepare a lot of tenderloin fillets.
Yes.
But you have to keep it simple too. The thing I like about the concept that we put together here is that you're not dealing with all kinds of different kinds of fish and a lot of different cuts of beef. We basically have the tenderloin beef, okay, red snapper, salmon, so that's the only two fish we have.
Right.
The shrimp, quail, and chicken.
And chicken, yeah.
So, that way you can maintain consistency.
Right.
And like I said, when people get to like a dish, they don't beer for it. They order.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
I order it same. I either switch from beef or fish, but usually it's the red snapper for me.
So no, we found that just maintain consistency. Filete cantinflas.
Okay.
Okay, so Javier, where did the name Cantinflas come from?
Okay, remember I told you earlier that I hired a chef out of Mexico City?
Yes.
His name was Eduardo Fria. Very good chef. Okay, he worked at a restaurant in Mexico City where the owner was intimate friends with a fellow by the name of Mario Moreno. Mario Moreno was kind of like Mexico's version of Bob Hope.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, but his Hollywood name was Cantinflas.
Hollywood name was
Or yeah, he was known as Cantinflas. He was a comedian. He's a fabulous comedian, and that was his name. So when Eduardo came here, he had the recipe obviously because he was a chef. He was in the kitchen. So he said, you need to put this dish on the menu. And I said, okay, you're the chef. Tell me about it. So there you go. And what it is, it's a tenderloin beef. Okay, it's thinly patted out, and then it's stuffed with cheese. And then you put it back together, the top of it. Seasoned butter in the cheese as well. And then it's topped with a mulatto pepper sauce.
Ooh, yum.
Okay? And people absolutely love that. That's the number one dish on the restaurant.
Number one dish.
Number one and number two, the red snapper mojo de ajo. It's red snapper with a garlic, fresh garlic and lime and a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. And there you go.
It's beautiful. I'm excited. And what do you have
Enjoy.
here? More quail.
Well, they brought me more quail, so I guess they know how much I like it, so I
Yes,
just took it upon themselves to bring me more quail, so it's okay.
So what is bon appetit in Spanish? What's the equivalent?
Buen apetito.
Buen appetit.
Buen apetito. Sí.
Amazing.
Salud.
Salud.
Salud. Love it.
How did you expand upon your menu from there? Like, so that was 46 years ago.
No, that was 40 years. Yeah, right. 46 years.
46 years. So what have you done to add to the menu? And who have you brought on to like expand your menu?
You know, we really established the menu early on. Not from the beginning. I actually had another chef from the beginning, but he didn't stay very long. And then I brought Eduardo in, and then we established the menu that we have today. We've added a few things like the platter, the quail, the Durango, some of the other things, but very few. The menu has changed very, very little. And so we just maintain the same dishes because we know that people like it.
Right.
We can maintain the consistency that way. You know, a lot of chefs, what they do, and I think it's a big mistake, chefs,
Change the menu.
they change the menu all the time.
Right.
I remember going to a restaurant, an Italian restaurant that I really liked, and they had this great pasta dish with mushrooms and everything. And every time I got it, I would look forward to that, and then I would go in and I said, "Where's the mushroom pasta?"
That's the most
I said,
disappointing.
"Oh, the chef took it off the menu." I said, "Why? It was a great dish." You guys are crazy. And it happens all the time. A lot of these chefs,
Yeah.
a lot of chefs.
But wait, I want that dish.
Yeah.
Like, I came to this restaurant for that specific.
Exactly. Chefs are great at what they do, and they're really artists at what they do. As far as you give them the authority to run the restaurant, forget it. It's a
About
disaster.
it. Yeah.
It's a disaster because they constantly want to be changing it.
Right.
People don't want that.
No, people don't like
you have to
change.
have-
No.
It's common sense.
Generally speaking, don't love change.
No.
You have to kind of
That's right.
continue to push the barriers a little bit before you up and change a whole.
Yeah.
But
The chef can be the biggest enemy of the restaurant after a while. You know, you're changing, people will hate that.
Right.
so you've had this menu, say, for the entire 46 years or 40, at least 40 years?
The basis.
Yeah, at least, probably 40 years, 38. They vary very little, maybe varied about 10%, 15%. You know, added a few appetizers. Pretty much the same.
So, speaking of
If it ain't
change,
broke, don't fix it, you know? They don't say.
And how do you feel about cocktail menus, like when those change?
Well, no, we adapt to that because, yes, cocktails are more of a, they come and go in popularity.
Yeah.
People now,
like espresso martinis and cargias.
Exactly. Back in the day, they never used to do. Now everybody wants a special martini and
Yes.
tequilas, all the tequilas. I mean, there's so many tequilas out there that it's unbelievable. 43.
43.
That's the Spanish liqueur that.
Yes.
I dated a guy from Brazil for a while.
Okay.
Loved liqueur 43.
Yeah. That one.
Quite delicious.
Well, somebody turned me on to it, one of the liquor reps, and I said, "This is perfect as an after-dinner aperitif."
Yes. That's aperitif. Yes.
So I started buying it, and then we would send them to our good customers or people that we wanted to, some birthday or something, we would send it as a complimentary thing.
Yes.
And it just got so popular. I can't even begin to. The owner of the company out of Spain came one day. We were buying so much of it. He said, "Oh my God, you put us on the map. We really appreciate you."
You're like, you're welcome.
A lot of places still don't have liqueur 43.
No.
Is that right?
Or they'd be like, we don't know what it is. It was like, we're really missing out.
Yeah. No, it's a wonderful product. It's really, it's just perfect for sending somebody an after dinner.
Yes, absolutely. During COVID, I mean, like when that happened, I'm sure you did, but like,
Yes, we definitely had to adapt to COVID. Yes.
lots of to-go orders.
Lots of to-go orders.
Expanded
can't take that now. You're trying to figure out a way to make it permanently. So I got it permitted permanently.
Okay.
And it was a great addition.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You have to get a permit for everything.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't easy. It took me almost 2 years to get that permit. Okay, so when I was about 15 years old, I was looking, me and my buddy were looking for a summer job. You know, that's a little bitty guy. No, I worked at El Chico. Rafa was the assistant manager, and Mario was the manager, and I came in as the busboy. And
Rafa was the assistant manager.
yeah, he was the assistant manager, and the other guy, Mario, was the guy that owned Chiquita's, the restaurant that I was telling you about earlier. And I was the busboy. Like I said, I was only like 15 with a buddy of mine. And my friend, you know, he was a lot bigger than me, so he would brag to me how many dishes he could carry, and I couldn't do that. So one day, no, you can't carry anything. I stuck my leg out. He tripped and oopsie daisy. So Rafa came out. I mean, he fired me. You're fired. So and I was just young kid.
Yeah.
You know, dumb, irresponsible kid, but you know, so that was my restaurant experience. I stayed friends with Rafa. That was my restaurant experience. But I stayed good friends with Rafa for many years. I told that story to many people, and they just think, "Are you serious? That guy you fired? You fired him?"
That's Julia's nephew, I think.
Is that the very pretty bottle?
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
Beautiful bottle.
Beautiful bottle.
Okay, I was sitting to an alcohol rep below, and he pulled out the bottle. It's not like, you know, all you have to do is take off the label and really use it around your house.
Right.
We don't put anything else on it. We don't make it look like like where everyone knows the blue and white bottle. It's just like a very pretty piece of like.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I was like, that's a very smart marketing idea.
Clase azul ultra añejo.
Clase Azul Ultra Añejo, that's the word. Those are about
Is that-
$200 a shot.
Yeah, it was.
Is that the gray bottle, I wonder?
No, it's a blue.
It's the blue. It's the blue and white one. Is that one?
Yeah.
But it was a very expensive shot.
Very. Yeah.
And that was
Yes. That makes sense. Okay, so we have one more question we want to ask you. And I know you and Julia talked a little bit about this, but what does the future of Javier's hold? I mean, there's been a lot of rumors about selling out, but there's always rumors in Dallas, right?
Well, let me tell you something. That rumor's been going around for 4 years.
Yes.
For a long time. And I think what started that rumor is what's happening around the neighborhood here. You notice they built that big high-rise here 4 years ago, 240-foot high-rise.
Right.
They're building another one right catty corner to it. And then, you know, they just own the property. Everybody thinks that because all these properties are selling, I'm going to sell mine.
Yes.
Because I own the whole block. So.
And you bought this building for how much money?
Well, back then, you know, I don't have to tell you.
It's like 200.
To me, you cannot, you know, you have, the real estate is one thing, but the restaurant is another.
Absolutely.
And you cannot totally neglect one and just focus on one for a lot of reasons, okay? I mean, if I was starving for money or whatever, that was one thing, but
But you that you don't sell the building.
It's not only that, but, you know, my employees have been with me. I have 85 employees. Half of them have been with me over 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're like, you can't just abandon it. Say, okay, guys, I'm going to sell the building and bye. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. So we got to figure out a way to, you know, eventually, maybe, some way, somehow, we figure out how to continue the restaurant and do something with the real estate down the road.
Right.
But right now, don't believe all those rumors. Every day somebody asks me about that.
I know.
It's got to work out in that way. Yeah, well,
It always is, even talking. Cafe Pacific the other day, remember? I was like, I heard that you guys were closing. They're like, that rumor comes around like every 2 years.
that's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's the
Over
haters.
there, like I heard, maybe that'd be loose closing. I think. I mean, I don't
We
know.
went, what was that, 2 weeks ago? And we said that, and they're like,
Of course, I don't think they've been admitting to
that's true, that is true, yes. Yeah. So that concludes another episode of The American Dream, Selling Dallas. We hope you enjoyed the tour of 3824 Beverly Drive in Highland Park, and of course of Javier's Gourmet Mexicano and all the dishes he has to offer.
So if you're in the market to be in this community, we'd love to help you out as your real estate advisors. Catch us on the next episode of The American Dream.